If you get an autism diagnosis, will you end up on a government registry somewhere? Is it safe to get an autism diagnosis in our current political climate? I'm an autistic psychologist. Let's talk about it. Earlier this year, the federal government said, hey, we're going to create an autism registry, and people understandably freaked out. You do not want your name to be on a government list of people who have a particular diagnosis. In the past, those lists were used to do terrible things, and so it makes a lot of sense that people were worried about this idea. And so a lot of people pushed back about this, and the federal government said, oh, well, we didn't actually mean a registry. We're not going to actually make a list of people's names and other personal information. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to gather a lot of de-identified information and compile that together so that we can do scientific research on it. De-identified data means that the data has been scrubbed of anything that can be used to identify the people in the study. So maybe you have a data set of 10,000 people with autism, but you don't know which people with autism are in that data set. And this is a legitimate way to do scientific research. A lot of important discoveries have come from looking at de-identified medical records and similar data sets about people that have particular conditions. So it's not actually a problem if your data ends up in this kind of data set, because it is in no way possible for that to be tied back to you, and your data might help to advance autism research or discover important things. However, there are some caveats to this. The first caveat is that this administration has not proven themselves very trustworthy in their dealings with the autism community or in their following of rigorous scientific principles. And so it is possible that even though they say it's going to be de-identified, maybe they're going to do it in a sloppy way, or for some other reason, personal information is included in this data set. The second caveat is that things could change in the future. Maybe the federal government wakes up tomorrow and decides that they are going to order insurance companies to give them information on every person with autism. So that's, I don't think, a very likely thing to happen. I think there would be tremendous pushback if that were to occur, but it is certainly possible. So there is no current autism registry. There is no current reason to believe that if you get an autism diagnosis, the federal government is going to hear about it. But if you are worried about it, that's not a completely unreasonable fear. And so what can you do about it to get a diagnosis and still stay safe? So if you are worried about that, there's two things that you can do. The first one is that you can work with a psychologist who does not take your insurance, because in that case, the only record of your diagnosis is in those psychologists' own files, and chances are the federal government is not going to go door to door to every psychologist's office demanding files. The second thing that you can do is to go through the diagnostic process, but then ask the provider, hey, is there any way that we can keep the final diagnosis off my records? And an autism diagnosis can be life-changing, and I hope that this helps inform you to make the right decision about how you can get an autism diagnosis that feels safe for you.